Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can go ahead and do call to order. We'll do call to order at 16:08.
I'm getting it. They took our
Where's my flag?
flag out of here. I improvised.
I pledge allegiance.
Oh, you put it back.
To the flag. We'll
United States
run it
of
back,
America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever had to run back the pledge.
Well, it worked.
Recording in progress.
So we'll do roll call. Nick?
Here.
Andres? Not yet. Joe?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Me? Yes. And then we'll move on to item number 3, adopting the agenda. I was fine with that. We may have to, if Les isn't here, then I guess we would strike executive session from the
Technically,
agenda.
don't have to have an attorney for executive session.
Okay,
It's just good practice.
okay,
So if he's not here, we can go into it, but he told me he'd be here, so.
okay. So you want to just plan on, well, so no changes to the agenda?
No,
No possible changes?
So Andres said the link isn't working, so I'm just not calling.
We should be okay to keep it as is, I think. Unless you want to move it to after operations just to be safe.
I mean, I'd be fine with that, yeah, just in case, give him a little extra time to be here for it. So we move 9 down to 11. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we'll need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion that we modify a new agenda by moving executive session from 9
Hey,
to
buddy.
number 11.
Sweet.
Just working on adopting the agenda.
I'll second that.
And it was Joe and Tom. And then take a vote. So Nick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes,
You know what we're voting on, we moved the executive session down past the operations report. And that's, we're voting on amending.
okay.
And then me, yes. Joe?
Yes.
We have any public comments?
Not that I'm aware of. And it doesn't look like anybody logged in, so. Les said, I thought it was 4:30, so.
Classic less. That's cool, that's 30 minutes less we have to wait.
Right. 30 minutes less.
Yeah, 30 minutes less. So that'll move us on to item number 5, or I guess it'll be item number 4 now. Or no, it's 5 because we didn't affect it, my bad. Review the meeting minutes. Does anybody?
I didn't see anything in there that was a problem at all. I make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second it.
Come on, Lester.
Then we'll do a vote. Nick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Me, yes. Joe?
Yep.
I'll sign those once we're done. That'll move us on to item number 6, financial statements for October 2024.
Okay, so there wasn't enough time to have November's financials done, so we're falling back to October. As of October 31st, we have $4,027,492 in the bank. So our net income for the district for the month of October was negative $70,485. And for the enterprise, it was negative $9,915, so we didn't bring in enough revenue for October. But we're still sitting good overall.
Gotcha, yeah.
Any feeling about November?
We've had good collections to start out in November, so I think November we should look okay. And so we've been discussing a lot of things at the state level, and so I was just looking at responses, and the total call responses for October were 201. Our October revenue collected was $83,245. That doesn't include property tax, and that comes out to an average revenue per call of $414. And just breaking down the numbers, to break even, we need to be charging just shy of $1,300 per call. So,
Say that again? We're getting 400, but
So we're 900 short.
900 short.
to break even, that's not to make anything extra. That just kind of puts into context EMS as a whole and kind of where we're sitting.
To me, that's an unfortunate, like, necessity of the beast, honestly.
Well,
But
it-
that's where things like property taxes not
Right.
coming in are really gonna hurt us.
Yeah, but I just, what's the last thing I do? Yes. I just kind of wanted to put that in perspective though, even though we're doing well, this is just not sustainable, EMS as a whole. And so that's why we're so involved at the state level, trying to get some of this stuff pushed. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. And then same for interfacility transfers, we had 29, we collected $15,500 roughly, and so that came out to an average of $533 per transfer. So that's just kind of where we're sitting. I am applying, or going to try and apply for the 2025 Assistance to Firefighters Grant. I'm gonna ask for radios on that grant, but that's due December 20th. So I'm really working to push that one. The state EMTS grant will be opening now in the next week or two, and that closes in February.
What was that one called?
It's the state EMS grant,
Got you.
trauma grant.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what we're gonna ask for on that one yet, but we set aside $75,000, so it's a 50-50 grant, so we can double that, to ask for something. And then, I can't remember what NSC stands for, National Safety Council, I think. That grant opens April of next year, and I'm gonna go after some mental health and community paramedic stuff on that grant. And there's also a rural healthcare services outreach program, and that's the same thing. That's a lot of mental health and community paramedic stuff. So we're gonna try for some stuff on that grant too.
Okay, ask you a question. So what you said earlier is you're working at the state level to try to help EMS.
Yes.
What, is there laws that you're trying to get passed or revenue streams? that-
Both. So it starts with getting the state to recognize us as an essential service,
Okay.
which we've introduced legislation. We're just waiting for that to get passed. So once that gets passed, that creates an avenue for revenue stream. We don't know what that looks like. The state's in a $1.5 billion hole to start out next year.
Okay.
So I can't imagine we're gonna get any kind of revenues from the state whatsoever this year. But we are going to introduce legislation to try and get Medicaid to pay 80% of Medicare fees, which would be huge. And that just came across my email this morning. So I'm drafting a letter to send to our state legislators. And there's 7 that have signed on that think they can get this passed. So we're gonna really push that hard this year. So that'll be huge.
Would that be at the state level or federal?
State. So Medicaid is state. It's
Okay.
managed by the state. Even though it's a federal program, it's managed by the state.
Okay.
So we're working towards that. And there was something else.
The HUTF, we didn't think that, you didn't
No,
think that
that-
we were gonna get any on that.
That one won't go anywhere, but we're really pushing the state hard to make us an essential service and
Yeah, that's.
find some kind of revenue stream.
Is that just simply a law getting passed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much across the country, depending on cities and states, really just depending on specific jurisdictions. EMS is not considered an essential service, as is the police department or the fire department. And so there's, as you could imagine, a lot less money that gets funneled towards EMS because of that. So if we were able to get something like that, that's huge. That's like huge across the country, being able to be considered an essential service as an EMS provider.
The problem is who pays for it.
Yeah.
So the cities are gonna say, well, the county needs to pay for it because that's a county ambulance, and the county's gonna say, well, they cover the city, and so that's where you're gonna have that. But it's a step in the right direction, so.
Are you interested in anything federal?
AFG's federal.
Any-
Oh, legislation?
Yeah, or any grants or?
So that was the other thing. So at the federal level, they just introduced legislation to do treatment in place,
For Medicare.
which that's going to be huge. So
I have an in with Senator Bennett's office, with his, I call him the chief of staff for our area, and they've been really responsive. Like, I growled because we didn't have, they implemented the National Guard in this last snowstorm with no snow moving equipment. So they really didn't do me any good, so I growled, and I said, I need a snowcat, I need and they laughed, but they called me back like immediately. So if you want that name and number, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. The squeaky wheel gets oiled.
yeah, that'd be helpful.
So-
We got some good lobbyists at the federal level, and I think we're going to be able to push that one through too.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, anything helps.
All right, I'll get that information to you tomorrow.
So, but yeah, that's going to be super helpful to be able to treat patients on scene. That'll help with the community paramedic stuff that we're trying to do. But just in general, right now, if we run a diabetic and we treat them, we can't bill.
Wow.
So we use all of our supplies and equipment, we leave them on scene, and that's that. So this will help
That's
kind of close that a little bit if they have Medicare. And usually what Medicare does, commercial insurances do. And so if Medicare starts paying for treatment in place, then you're gonna get your anthems and stuff that are probably gonna follow suit.
Cool.
So that'll
That'll
be
help
good
for
too.
community paramedicine stuff, I
Oh, yeah.
assume, too.
Yeah. So there's some good things coming, it's just taking some time.
Gotcha.
And that's pretty much what I have for my financials.
We got any questions? Is this one we usually do a motion on, I feel like?
Yes,
It's director
Yes.
and operations, we do not.
you have to accept the financials.
Cool. Can we get a motion for accepting the financials?
I'll make a motion that we accept the financials through October of 2024 as presented.
And a second?
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Me, yes. Joe?
Yes.
And then we'll move on to item number 7, old business. Anybody have any old business?
Just questions. Did they move into the old building?
So that's gonna come up, I guess we can talk about it wherever. That fell through.
Oh, no.
So for whatever reason, the buyers decided to back out. Don't know why. They wouldn't give us, and that's that little handout that I put out there. So they had somebody come through and do an inspection, and these were all the issues that they came up with. The stuff after the fact was my answer to these questions, because I think they were a load of crap, the majority of them. For example, the easiest one, and it really drove me insane, was the dryer vent that said is kinked or damaged. It was just the little hose that connects from the dryer to the outside. It was pushed in. And they had it on here, and it drove me absolutely insane. So I really stuck on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of this stuff was easy fix stuff, and I just think they were looking for a reason to get out of it.
I wonder if because of the verbiage we put in the contract, I wonder if that caused them to take a second thought of what they were getting into.
I don't know, because the first walkthrough they did, they were super excited, and they were already planning what they were gonna do here and there, and for whatever reason, last minute, they backed out. After this came out, they wanted us to drop it down to 700,000.
Oh,
And I said, the
wow.
board was not gonna go for that.
Yeah.
And so they kept pressing me to have a board meeting. I said, no. I said, you guys can be patient and wait. We're not gonna drop it to 700,000. And then they just decided to back out, so.
wow.
So is this after they got the verbiage that we changed in the contract? This came out afterwards?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know, because we asked for a lot of stuff, and we asked about recouping the
No,
costs.
no.
Okay.
Yes,
It'd have to be.
this did come out after that.
That's why I said I wonder if something
Yeah.
to do with the we tweaking the contract,
That did
holding
come out
their feet
after
to the
that.
fire. I think they're like, oh boy.
So,
Most of the stuff was standard though. I don't think was there anything
No.
weird or anything.
so the darker color is your response?
Yeah, that, on his it's
Okay.
red.
Yeah.
I get it,
The
okay.
angry color.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The one
but
that
I
feels like
printed out
yellow.
the color and they didn't come out.
That's okay.
Huh.
You can still clearly tell the difference between them.
But there was stuff like the replacing the carpet. If-
Yeah.
Who does,
I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
And then there was, yeah, it was just,
They're buying the building.
Right.
they didn't like that the pavement was not level in the back and different things like that.
well, that's good
It's like,
for the runoff.
no, well, no, it's actually bad because it runs the wrong way.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but it's something we dealt with because it was the way that the building was made. and-
Right.
or the way that it was put in there, and so we just kind of dealt with it, but it's not something we're gonna correct
Right.
to sell it.
Okay, well.
So, yeah,
So we go back to the broker or whoever that was.
so I got off the phone with him about a half hour ago, and he suggested either lowering the price, not necessarily to 700,000, but lower it to something we feel comfortable, or consider leasing it, keep it at the same price and consider leasing the property. Or I wanted to throw this out there, is maybe look to see what it would cost to renovate it a little bit, and maybe just open up a second station in the near future. Since we already own the asset.
I mean, I like the prospect of that, because if we start, that to me means that we're gonna have to look for more staff, we're gonna have to expand in that way. And so to me, I like that opportunity personally, because it does kind of put our heads in that direction. But then that does obviously come at a time where we're already dealing with money issues and figuring out different sources of funding. But it's at least an idea I personally am open to.
And the good thing is, I won't be able to do it this year because I don't have any numbers, but that AFG grant will go towards renovation stuff,
Mhm.
so we can apply for that next year
Okay.
to renovate it if it ends up being cost too much or something. But I wanted to try and get contractors in there and just kind of see what we need to kind of fix it up and just maybe move back in there and utilize the garage space again.
I think that's a good idea. Holding on to the land and the building, it's not bad. And I did a video for the Stonewall Fire Department for Upriver, and they had built, in 2018, they got a grant for $742,000, thanks to the video I did for them. And it was all about location. And so, being able to cover that side of town in the future, there's some things that are happening in Trinidad that not a lot of people know about that may really help growth.
Yeah.
And so holding on to it, we can put it out there, and if somebody shows up that says, yeah, we'll take it for what we want, yeah, but holding on to it, as long as we keep maintaining it, because as a building owner, if you don't do things with the building, they quickly deteriorate.
Yeah.
And so-
I'm afraid that's where we're at now with that, because we didn't do a lot of maintenance on it.
Yeah.
But most of it, like Chief said, is pretty easy. I think the most expensive thing is gonna be the HVAC system,
Yeah.
which has been a problem.
Right.
Yeah, I
For a long
remember
time.
that being big talk.
So,
I mean-
well, we took our shot, it was good.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean we have to necessarily close the doors to, if someone does come along and offer the price for it, or if we find a decent, like someone who wants to lease it or wants to rent it or something, if they want the right price or if they are willing to pay the right price and are the right type of service or deal.
But let me bounce this at less. Remember the people that showed up that wanted to do the ride-alongs that were psychologists or whatever?
Yes.
You know, that's still, and maybe when we get to the health service district, maybe that's something that we do, you know, under the health service district, because I said the health service district has a lot of different tools.
Mhm.
And maybe we go out and find grants, and maybe we help facilitate that with a place where when you have somebody like Frank Shu is saying, not everybody needs to go to jail. They need to go somewhere, but not necessarily to jail. So down the road with the health service district, maybe it's something we facilitate.
Potentially, and we had some great conversation with Chief Dahanovich just a little bit ago on utilizing their co-responder and trying to collaborate with some stuff, so
Okay.
I think we're moving in a good direction, and it might behoove us to hold on to that.
Yeah, I think it leaves a lot of opportunities for us if we do have the building. It's a little tough money-wise. I want to kind of hear your thoughts, being more of a money-minded.
Yeah. Well, what would be a capacity here? Before
As
we-
far as
Yeah.
staffing,
Yeah.
I mean, we can house three crews, so 6 people out of here.
Okay. I think, I agree, I think we should keep it for sale at the high price, and then we'll see what happens, but,
Well, and we could definitely keep it on the market for sale or lease and utilize it and maybe slowly make changes if we need to, and then if it doesn't sell, then we do what we need to.
but we have to maintain it, I think,
Mhm.
that's like, to Tom's point, I think.
And I do think if we're creative, then between now and when we would prospectively need to expand or need the extra space, if we're creative, there are a lot of things that we could potentially do with it in that time if we aren't able to sell it for a reasonable price that's worth
And
it.
another thing that just came up was we were talking with Tiny from UPRAD.
Mhm.
Their commissioners are loving them so much, they're actually going to be putting in UPRAD or UPass Regional Health Service District is going to be putting in an urgent care themselves,
Oh.
which is another thing that we can
Whoa,
do. with
yes.
that. Now granted, they're 10 years ahead of us, right? So they've been doing this for a long time, but that's where they're going.
That's the creativity I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Right,
is it's
so
like
if
we're
you said that,
creative-
that's exactly,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
so.
In those regards, I'm not against it. I just think it's worth trying to keep an eye on it being maintained and whether or not it's, going to get to be too much if we're not having anything come in from it. Like, we may have to buckle down more sooner than later in order to make sure we're not just bleeding revenue on it sitting and us maintaining it. But other than that, I like the idea because it does offer a lot of opportunities, especially as we're kind of needing to get creative to figure out how to fund and how to.
So do you want me to have the broker list it for sale and or lease and keep it out there?
What do you guys think? I
I
think
think
that's.
keep it as, I mean, I might as well, I mean,
Yeah.
in the meantime, just maintain
Yeah.
it. And don't get in a
That'll keep it
hurry.
at the 1.1 million.
Mhm.
And then if we need to use it, at least it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry I'm late, everybody, and I
Show
was
up
on
whenever you
old
want.
time. Yeah, but just from gleaning what you guys are saying from this conversation, from my having been half an hour late, I'm assuming the lease fell through because of
The table.
because of
Yeah.
these conditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the
So-
bolded characters are Chief's response.
Responses. Okay. Good. Weren't they supposed to do like an inspection of it a long
That's
time ago?
What this
There you
came
go.
from,
Okay.
was their inspection.
No, I
He's got-
have it.
he's
I
got it.
have it. But I mean, it seems kind of late. Like they were going to do an inspection
That's-
Oh,
before.
That's
it's
what I-
been probably close to a month.
Okay. And I meant late for them. I just thought they would have
Oh.
I
inspected
think
it
they
by
were
now.
happy,
Not
something
in-
queried it, this is the result of that query.
Okay.
So they
okay.
did an inspection and walked through and still loved the building and decided, I'm gonna do this and this and this.
Yeah.
And then they had somebody come in a few
Got it.
weeks later and did this, and
Okay.
then all of a sudden,
They didn't
they
want
backed
it.
out.
Okay.
I wonder, was there like a business partner that came
Yeah,
in?
yeah, they had another partner.
Maybe that was what happened, the business partner came in and is the hardballer or
Yeah.
something.
Could be.
Good.
So I have a question. If Chief wants to go and move that maybe to potentially another station or something, we do have maintenance that we have to fix up on it anyway. With that ability, would it be smart to keep it for sale at the high price, but not necessarily list it for lease? So if we list it for lease, then we're gonna be fixing it up for somebody else. We're not gonna have the extra space. I just thought I'd throw that out there and see what your thoughts are there.
So the only thing I was thinking was if we have a lease set up, then that would at least afford us like, yeah, maybe a year or two or something, but at least we know that we have, money coming in. But I do get the concept of like, we wouldn't be able to pull the trigger on anything quick if we, like to be able to use it if it got leased.
And in the lease, we could put that we're gonna use the garage space or something,
Right.
so that we can still utilize that and they don't
Yeah.
have access to it or whatever.
Yeah, or that could go in the lease too, that it's like, that it will be, like we will be doing renovations and things during their lease time. But, I get what you're saying though, where it's like we would lose the ability to quickly use it unless we did something like said, we're retaining the use of the garage or something similar.
Yeah, I think you should keep all the options out there until something solidifies. Because right now, nothing's happening, really, it's winter time, we're likely not gonna get a lot of people coming through looking at stuff. You never know.
And then, you're not a fan, but with new administration coming in, I think maybe things will start looking up.
Maybe, we'll see.
Maybe.
And
It's just, this is high
as a rural
irony
place, it's
though.
always
After all the
curious
things we
about
did
this
to
if it comes into me.
accommodate them, and more than meeting them halfway,
Mhm.
that they come up with just, it seems like a lot of contrived,
Silly stuff.
Mhm.
yeah, really minor things. And it just
Were you
seems-
here when Chief was talking about the one that really bit him?
Oh, that was nothing.
No.
On the back, there's one about, which item is it?
The dryer vents.
37, it says kinked and damaged, normal wear and tear, or kinked and damaged, and then he said he went and
Dryer.
looked. He said it was the one between the wall and the unit, or the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a little dryer hose.
And it,
Yeah.
and it was just collapsed.
I
Which is
literally
like-
took a screwdriver, undid the clamp and took it off, wasn't bent anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Here's $4.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're $4 at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
my
yeah,
God.
that does really make me feel like they were looking for a
Yeah,
way
you
to
had to
get
put
out.
that on a list.
Well, and then they lowballed you, so that's what they were after.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And Gabe, high water pressure, living where we do, might not be a nice problem to
Yeah,
have.
no shit.
Yeah, you flush the toilet and all the water pressure goes down in our
You guys don't
area.
have good pressure over there?
It's
No,
terrible.
it's awful.
Really?
And it's notorious for having
We can't
bad.
water our yards at the same time.
Exactly, that's right, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that's a pressure valve. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it, it's fixed.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's just say it was.
I have-
Right,
We
right.
have two, we have to put a pressure reducer on ours, the whole main street. It's like 130,
I had
at one
that
time it was
problem.
150 PSI.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
homes
Yeah.
homes are tested for 100-pound PSI, so
Okay.
anything, usually 80 is the norm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything in our neighborhood is cheaper. They just slapped it all together. That's a digression. Sorry.
Okay, so I'll talk to the broker tomorrow and let him know we're gonna keep it up for sale and he can put it for lease and,
Yeah, we got to do
See
the
what
maintenance
happens.
anyway, if we can utilize the bays for,
yeah, we already moved equipment over. It's like, we own this, we're just gonna use this base space for now and see what happens,
good plan.
so.
So we want to do a vote on that one since it's about continuation of the
I don't
building?
think you
or-
need to
No.
until there's a decision, until
Okay.
somebody makes an offer.
Okay,
I
more than
think we're
just an
good.
informational
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, maintenance is maintenance.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Any questions or concerns? Then that would move us on to item number 8, new business. Nothing? Cool. Then we'll move on to our new item number 9, which will be the director's report.
Since somebody was late,
Yeah,
had to move stuff around.
my agenda's all messy now, thanks a lot.
I said I'm sorry. So go ahead.
I had to Director's report for December 11th, 2024. Medical direction, so we have our EMS guidelines, annual guidelines review and updates tomorrow in Pueblo West. And DC DeTrey and Lieutenant Velasquez are gonna attend that. Billing company, year-to-date net collections through November are $1,276,757. So we're looking really good for the year. Just talked about the 939 Robinson address. The appeal update, there was no action from Mount San Rafael Hospital. So the Court of Appeals will issue their mandate in the coming days, and we will be done with that.
Oh, cool.
Done and over with.
Sweet.
The KISS Health Service District, we'll talk mostly about that stuff in executive session, but I did want to point out that we have 4 more paramedics ready to test for their community paramedic.
Nice. That's
Um,
awesome.
We've been working on trying to establish telehealth and telebehavioral health contracts. We met with a company today called Tele911, and they sounded amazing, and of course, they're not in Colorado. So there's that, and they didn't offer the behavioral health aspect, but they're willing to come into Colorado. And he said that, I told him I wanted to get 2 or 3 more other vendors and kind of see where we're at. So he said if those don't work out, or if he was the best option, to get a hold of him, and they'd be willing to look at doing something. So we're looking at those.
Sweet. You said 4 more paramedics? I
Yes.
just wanna hit that up.
Spoke with Chief Tahanovich earlier about using their code responder. I need to figure out what cert level she is. But if she's the right cert level, then we can potentially use her for behavioral health. And that can help us kind of fast track what we want to do as far as the community paramedic stuff and the mental health stuff.
Nice.
So he's planning on having a meeting January 13th, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be involved in that, and we'll kind of be able to iron some stuff out.
Hey, Moreno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that she is a clinician and she's able to work solely by herself. They did come over here and kind of introduce her, to the staff and everything. But I think she's a clinician. She's able to do her own assessments, I believe.
If she's able to do that, then that's exactly what we need, and we should be able to move forward if she's willing to work with us.
That'd be good. Yeah, I think she would be willing to work.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So that's awesome news. I was super excited after that. All of our staff passed the background checks that we have to do for the MIH stuff. We had to do all of our staff because if we're going to do secure transports and stuff, they had to be background checked. So we're able to move forward with that. We brought in one of the QRT SUVs, and we're putting a cage in that. Hopefully by next week that'll be done, and we'll be able to start doing secure transports here shortly. So we're moving forward with the community paramedic stuff.
Be working on tow part-time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so far times are real slow.
I know. Must be nice.
So I finally got our PO for cardiac monitors, and so we will be ordering those probably tomorrow.
Sweet.
It was between Zoll and Stryker. Zoll doesn't have anything new out, but they might have something new in the next year, and their price tag was $280,000. Stryker, we've got one demo, LifePak 35. They just put that out this last year. It's brand new, upgraded technology touchscreen.
Whoa.
They came at $240,000.
Whoa. Nice. How have you been liking the new life packs?
Everybody loves it.
Sweet. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I put out a poll, that's what everybody decided. We entertained Zoll for a little bit just because that's what we have now, and that's what everybody was using. But overall, everybody wants to go with Stryker with the life pack. So I think that's what we're gonna do.
And they're cheaper. Isn't that, are they the, life packs are the real small ones, yeah? Or no?
Those were the Tempest.
No. What did the helicopters usually have?
Well, they use the Pro Pack.
Pro pack. Okay.
Which was bought out by Zoll, I think.
Was it?
Phillips.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, Tempest is Phillips. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, anyway.
Either way, we're not going that route.
That's cool.
Tempest lost their FDA approval and they
Oh.
just got it back, or we're just working on getting it back.
I
So
didn't know that.
there's that.
Well, that's cool.
What else? So found out, and I was not really happy, our property tax income was frozen by the state. Come to find out, it's because we haven't had our audit done. We were supposed to have it done in July. That wasn't gonna happen, because the auditor was backed up after Mike Dixon retired. So, we did an extension through September, I think, was the extension date. Missed that deadline. So the state put a freeze on our account, and it is being completed and should be done by the end of this week or the end of next week.
Is that, that's at the county, right, that they're, the auditor?
No, we had to hire, so we're going through our old accountant, which is Bernadette.
Okay,
She found the auditor because we couldn't find one, and he's out of Lamar, and he was just so backed up that just kept pushing it out. There was no communication from the September deadline to now until we found out that our account was frozen, which isn't a huge deal, because we've collected probably 90% of our property tax income already by now anyway. But there was no communication, so we were a little frustrated with that. But it's getting rectified, and the state said they'll unfreeze our account once that's submitted, so. So we should be okay. It was just frustrating, the miscommunication.
For sure.
And kind of solidified why we switched accountants.
That's what I was thinking. It should be a thing in the past
Yeah.
after
Sounds
this.
like
really-
So, and then just a few small updates. October 28th, that week, we rolled out our body worn cameras.
Nice.
So we've been using those, and they've come in handy a few times, and so far no complaints. I've actually had a few people say, I'm glad we have these now.
Sweet. And server space and uploading at the end of the shift and stuff, is that going all right?
So far, it seems to be going okay. I've got it set up to delete every 30 days,
Sweet.
which is what the policy says.
Yeah.
And they automatically download when they're docked to charge.
Nice.
So
That's cool.
no issues there.
Awesome.
Halloween, we had our station open house, and that was huge. There's a lot of people showed up. I was super impressed.
That's really cool.
Commissioner Felix Lopez was just super impressed with what we're trying to do and with the new building, so that was awesome. And then a few county members, Bob Lucero came through, he's gonna be our new county commissioner, him and his wife, and they just love what we're trying to do, and they were super impressed with the facility, so.
That's awesome.
So that was greatly received. On November 7th, that weekend, we were supposed to be up at the state conference, but that's when that big snowstorm hit. And our staff actually volunteered to stay here rather than try and make that trip so that they can backfill.
Dude, that's cool.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
We were able to get credits for next year's conference, so we'll take those 3 staff members to the conference next year.
Nice.
Still waiting on that, but that's the plan.
That's awesome.
So that was huge. I mean, they volunteered to do that on their own, and I'm glad we did because that ended up being a mess. November 11th was the end of our Pulsara patient tracking pilot. That went over great at the state level, and I don't know now with the state deficit what they're gonna do, but the state was gonna go all in with Pulsara, so we'll wait and see what that does. November 18th, Raton Fire sent us a lady that does HOS alerting, and this is actually really, really cool. I don't want to do that. So basically what it does is it alerts you through your stereo system that there's an emergency vehicle either ahead or responding
Wow.
behind you. So I had her do me a quick quote of 10. It comes out to about $9,000 a year for 10, and that's every year. But they are working on motor contracts with Ford and a few other companies that this already be built into the stereo system. So all we do is put like a little transponder in our trucks, and anytime we activate the lights and siren, it automatically sends out alerts
Yes,
to
that's
people
cool.
that are close.
Kind of like what they're doing with the traffic lights, just wait
Yep.
for your stereo
Yep.
instead of the light.
I think I have a video here.
And the other thing that's cool, because it's not with all the vehicles and it's after a certain date, but the cool thing is anybody that's using navigation in their cars, which almost everybody is, it goes through the navigation system as well.
So it'll come through like Google
Not
Maps.
just the OEM stereo and that type of thing. So it goes through like Google Maps and
Yes,
and
that's
stuff like that.
awesome.
Right now, they
That's the big
have a
one.
contract with Apple Maps and with Waze. So
Okay.
those
Which
are the-
ways is
Sorry, I was
Google?
wrong.
Yeah, those are the two big ones that they're doing.
Nice. That's fantastic.
I mean, I think we've all had individual experiences where we didn't hear an emergency vehicle approaching. So I think that connectivity for real-time alerts going to the driver is absolutely vital. We don't always hear, we don't always see, we're distracted, we're just unknowing. So having that information is vitally important, I think.
The greatest risk to our personnel is responding to incidents on our interstates and roadways. But I think alerts via vehicles themselves or the applications folks are using to navigate are one of the single most beneficial items that we could have.
So it
People
shuts
that
out
are
the
working
music
in
and
the work
the stereo
zone, drivers
automatically.
that are driving on the
Pops it
highway
up.
need to know what's coming. And connectivity is a way that we can do that that has never been practical before. We now have the ability to warn people about what's coming.
The way it works and the impact it's had in our operation has been one of the single most impressive tools we have in our arsenal.
So it's these kinds of experiences where people are having these aha moments. Oh, my car really is taking care of me. It's looking out for me. That's different. That is new. Your driving experience will be defined by the connectivity. That's what's happening. It's such a transformative experience, and it's going to change people's relationships with their cars. It is happening right now.
So just a quick little video. This is something that I definitely want to do and I plan on doing.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
probably going to reduce it down to 5 to start out so that it falls under my spending authority. So there's two portions to this. So there's the safety cloud that does the vehicle alerting, and then there's responder to responder. So
Okay.
that is if there's another emergency vehicle approaching the same intersection, it'll let you know that there's another emergency vehicle
That's awesome.
approaching. And so you don't have that, basically like a blue on blue, you don't have the
Yep.
responder to responder accidents.
Yeah.
And so Ratone's using it on 6 pieces of their equipment, so if we respond with them on the interstate,
Nice.
then we'll know, and then we'll be able to use it with our trucks.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot.
So I thought that was just huge. That's,
Yeah, I
that's
think so
a
too.
really cool thing.
Yeah, that's a huge step up in safety, in crew safety and people safety, citizen safety. That's huge. That's really cool.
Correct me if I'm not wrong, Chief, it also tracks them.
Oh, yes.
So that's another cool thing is, especially when we start doing the secure transport, it'll track that live on the maps.
Oh,
See
cool.
if I
I
can
didn't know we had that at Grady. It just wasn't very good. It was like
Oh,
some
that's
trucks that didn't work,
So
but
Ratone Fire actually sent me this. So this is a printout that you can do every month, and it tells you how many drivers were alerted, how many responder alerts there were, total incidents, average time on scene, total runs, responding time.
nice.
So you, so you
Yeah,
can
that's
pull
really cool.
all that data, and that's good for grants.
Yeah, for sure. The more numbers, the better for
Yep.
grants.
So that was cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that idea. I think that's yet another thing that puts us kind of on the leading edge of stuff like this. Especially as we're trying to convince them, like, we are an essential service. Look what we have to do every day. Look what type of stuff we're protecting. So I think that's perfect. I think that's really, really cool.
How many did you have it down for? That was the price for 10?
That's for 10. Yeah, so dropped it down to 5.
So it'd just be the ambulances then?
It'd be $4,490, 3 ambulances and us.
Yeah, that's not too shabby for what they're doing.
We would just have to budget for it every year because that'd be an annual expense. As we grow it, $5,000 isn't a huge deal right now, but as we grow.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. November 19th, we attended the RETAC meeting. That was uneventful. November 21st, I had our Healthcare Coalition meeting. That was uneventful. December 4th, we had
Right?
what?
You're always the guy who saves pennies. He says motion for 10.
I do.
You know this guy already.
I like to-
I have no game for
I
many,
like
many
to
years.
try stuff before we go all in to make sure that it works.
Sorry, Gabe, go ahead.
December 4th, me, Bubba, and two of our lieutenants attended the G191 EOC training. And that was pretty awesome because Joe was able to get city agencies and county agencies involved, like Public
30
Works,
people there.
that you would never work with.
Yeah,
And that was cool.
yeah.
So it was bringing them in so they could see how an EOC works and see how vital everybody is. We had the water treatment guy sitting at our table, and we don't think about water runoff and all that stuff. We're worried about mitigating whatever our situation is. And he's like, well, what about the water? It's like, I would have never thought of that. So it was really cool that Joe was able to get that and get people in here. So that was cool. December 5th, I had the Semtech Safety Subcommittee. That's the committee at the state level that's really pushing for crew safety, getting rested, doing late night transfers, not going out in bad weather, trying to figure out some of that stuff, so that's cool. December 7th, we had our Christmas party. I wasn't able to attend because my niece was playing in a tournament.
How'd you do?
They took second.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
but I heard that it was well received and it was good food.
Yeah, it was
It was
good.
good. Good time.
So that was cool. Yesterday, met with our Health Service District Attorney. We can talk more about that in executive session. And we had our Whole Blood Coalition. And they're starting to finish up the pilots, and the state's starting to look at trying to figure out how to do whole blood throughout the whole state.
That's cool.
So they're starting to look closer at the rural areas to see how we're able to get blood and not waste blood, so get it back to the trauma centers. So they're starting to focus on that now as the pilots wrap up.
So we've got good forward movement on whole blood stuff.
Yep.
That's cool.
And then this morning, we had our third service group meeting, which is actually a national meeting that I don't know how the heck we got involved.
We got
but
it
it's-
in MSAC last year.
But it was really cool. So there's agencies from Florida, Texas, New Orleans EMS, I think there was Iowa or Idaho. And so we decided that we're considered a third service. We're not a private for-profit, and we're not fire-based. We're just kind of out there on our own. And we found that we've got a bunch of unique problems that are unique to us and not other agencies. And so we decided to sit in on this group and see if we can kind of help each other. And it seems like a lot of that was based on interfacility transfers and short staffing and safety. So the problem's not unique to Trinidad or rural Colorado. So that was kind of huge. And that's all I have for my director's report.
Sweet. It's very jam-packed.
Busy.
Yeah.
Staying busy,
Yeah, dude.
earning that money.
Yep. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all sounds good to me. Anybody have any questions, comments? Sweet. Then that would move us on to item number 10 now, Operations Fleet Report.
Right, so, for last month, November, we had 195 calls, which was down 11 from the prior month. The third car, 3123, did one call with one transport. Chief and I each had a call. And one thing that was unique and first time out there was 3150, which is the special ops truck with the snowplow. Actually had two calls. So, Jason on that Saturday, like Chief said, we all stayed back for MSAC, and then I ended up staying here at the station for 3 days, helping plow, running calls with the crews, those type of things. We ended up doing a call out in the county that was 6.5 hours from Tone to get them to the hospital, and that was to plow them in, pulling the ambulance out. I got stuck, they got stuck.
Wow,
It was
wow.
one of those things. So, but it was a great response, great tool to have with us. Even the National Guard don't have snow removal equipment like Trinidad. So that was awesome. The crews have absolutely stepped up here recently.
That's awesome.
By long ways. 29 interfacility transfers for October, 34 interfacility transfers for November, and we are at 7 right now through December 10th. For you, Mr. President, we had 2 patients that did not get transported. One of them was scored out with staff fatigue. We asked them to hold that, and they actually got Legacy to transport that patient. And the other one was on a shift with a BLS crew, so we could only take BLS, and the patient's severity and condition, that patient was flown by Flight for Life. We did have 5 transports home. That's definitely up from recent months. Total for the year, we have 345 IFTs completed, and I'll just leave the year-to-date miles for that is 68,903 interfacility miles for this year thus far. We have 5 of the 6 trucks. We're still waiting for the last truck to get out and running. As Chief said, we have 2 vehicles over at the new station. We still have our 1 employee out on workman's comp. She is going to need surgery, and it's going to be a long rehab with that type of injury. So we're expecting potentially mid to late summer. So like I said, crews have been stepping up. Chief, we've decided that we're going to open up an EMT position so that and try to help backfill that, and then also assist with the community paramedic program once that gets all going. So that's all good stuff. We were asked, our chief was asked to go to Springfield last Friday to observe their mass casualty drill, which was a school shooting drill. Boy, we're ahead. We're ahead. But it was great. It was well received. They were very happy. Followed up with Sherilyn, the directors down there, had some other questions on the equipment, because I took our equipment and showed them what we're using. They're like, oh yeah, we have some of those. I think they're in the basement of the hospital. Like, well, that doesn't really help that. So that was good. Attended over the last 2 months 2 ER trauma meetings. And then, like Chief said, we're going to the regional guideline review. So that's what I got for you.
Sweet.
Just a quick question on the IFTs, where are they going to? Most like Buffalo Springs, Denver?
So it's actually kind of turned back around. I believe the last 2 months was 23 and 22 respectively. Were to Parkview, so Parkview's starting to accept more.
Okay.
So that's been the majority of them here as of late, so that's been good.
They have the ER's got a new medical director, Dr. Badeau, and he seems like he's kind of up to date on doing the right thing, and he's really pushing to get to the closer facilities, so to Parkview and even Corwin.
Okay.
Cool.
So that's been
Yeah.
kind of a
And-
positive.
Good to work with.
He's with Inova, which is the doctors group at the ER. But I will tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised and happy to work with him.
Good.
Like I said, we've had a couple ups and downs, but we're working through it. We explain ourselves to each other.
Good.
Andres, I don't know how you thought the meeting went today. I thought it went well. I think Doc's very receptive to at least hearing what we have to say, and seems to be reasonable.
That's awesome.
Good.
And I totally agree. I think he is in the same mindset as all of us to try to get us back on the same concept of we're doing what's right for the patients and for the community.
That's awesome.
I did advise the hospital that because even though that we are technically full staffed with the minus of the injured person, our part-time staff hasn't really been stepping up. We don't have a pool to really pull from, so it's been causing a lot of stress and strain on the full-time staff. Once again, they've stepped up, they're doing really good, but I did advise the hospital that there may be potential that we'll have more BLS days. There's gonna be, explain to them, they're a small rural access hospital with limited resources, and we're a small rural ambulance service with limited resources, and we're gonna do the best we can. So as you can see with the numbers, it's not like we're not doing transfers, we're out there doing what we do when we can, so. And we're gonna continue to do that.
I was gonna bring that up under miscellaneous, but since you brought it up, I really wanted to stress that I'm really concerned with burnout for our staff, our full-time staff. And
I appreciate you thinking about that.
There's a bunch of open shifts in January, and if we can't get them filled with part-timers, I'm not gonna force full-timers in. We might just have to temporarily drop a car and not do transfers, or drop an on-call, or whatever we need to do just to keep our staff healthy.
I personally resonate with that. That's what I went through and worked 120 hours a week for more than a year, and nobody was concerned about my burnout. And so I really appreciate doing what you need to do to keep an eye on
I am
that.
terrified with these guys, and they won't tell you. That you can tell that they're tired, and they won't tell you.
Nope, I worked every day. Every day you asked me to work, I would
And
work.
I can see it. It's like, we got to stop doing this, because we're going to lose. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to lose people. We're going to have an accident. Something bad's going to happen, and we can't do that.
Yep.
So.
Well, and the other good thing about that too is the lieutenants and even chief and I, it's like, we stagger those shifts, right? So there's a new shift coming on. But we've been having numerous night calls that they're staying up all night, whether it's transfers or other calls. So I know I make it a point, I've seen chief make it a point, it's like, hey guys, you guys need to go rest. It's not like we're out there making them do stuff all day long. They're getting their stuff done. They have the ability to do that. So we're trying to mitigate that as much as we can, so that we can do as much as we can with interfacility transfers and everything else.
It's a nature of the beast, which I think is why it's so important that people in our positions and your guys' positions absolutely keep apprised of it, because it's very easy, especially when you have people that all they want to do is help. We're all a big family. We all want to be in this together. We know you're struggling, so we're going to struggle too.
Right.
And so it's like keeping a good eye on that, I think, is very, very, very important. So I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
I agree. Take care of those staff, because if you don't take care of them, then they start leaving, then you're going to be in bigger trouble.
Absolutely.
So.
Yep. They keep putting all the people first, so we've got to put them first. Somebody's got to do it.
Well, and just to add to that real quick, so we put the offer out to all the part-time staff for the full-time positions. We brought in a couple of the QRTs to offer them, try to get them simulated in doing that. Amanda Ashkoff has been doing a great job with the Facebook page. She's putting that out there. It should be out there today or tomorrow. And one thing she brought out that never really hit me. Trinidad Ambulances never look for employees. We don't lose employees. We don't do that. And so she's like, there was places in Texas I didn't look for employment there because I know they didn't lose employees. They weren't hired.
We had tons in Georgia like
So
that too. You retired.
We
You were
need to
there
get it
30
out,
years.
right? So we don't lose a lot of them. So we're trying.
Have we ever considered the idea, and this is just, in the future, if we do end up, like in January, if we end up short-staffed, have we ever considered the idea of like a chase car? You have a paramedic responding by themselves to, like if you have a BLS respond, and if you just have one paramedic can't fill a truck, then you can do a chase car, have the EMT drive back.
That's all in my head, buddy.
Okay, cool.
And actually, if for whatever reason we have to drop a car at night or something, then rather than, we're gonna give the option of that third or that second crew member Either they can take PTO and go home,
Mhm.
or they can stay as a third, and if they stay as a third, then we'll put the paramedic on a chase car.
Got you.
And then they can chase them on all the calls, and if it's BLS, they transport, he returns to service, and then he can stop the clock on other calls.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah.
That's
we're-
awesome.
We're trying to work through some of that stuff. And I imagine as we start doing the being paramedic stuff more and mobile integrated health more, we're gonna transition to BLS cars,
Mhm.
but we're gonna require them to be advanced EMTs,
Mhm.
so that'll make them ALS,
Right.
and then have a chase paramedic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I think that's what we're eventually gonna transition to.
We did that even at Grady, because, you're working with like 30, 40 trucks a night.
Yeah.
And so we would do that a lot of times there, where they'd take one of the we had tons of extra supervisor trucks, and they'd take a supervisor truck as a paramedic, and then they'd send us out as AEMTs as an ALS truck. They could start advanced care, and then we would have a paramedic meet us, interceptor on scene or whatever.
Bless you.
I think as an industry nationwide, that's kind of what everybody's looking to. But yeah, that's specifically something we're looking at
Awesome.
in the near future.
That's really cool. Sweet. Does that cover operations?
That covers operations. If there's Tom, did you have some questions? No?
Tom's like TikTok,
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
We're there.
I'm keeping my mouth shut though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
So that puts us needing a motion to go into executive session for item number 11.
Make motion, go executive session.
And I'll need a second. And it's moving to an executive session, 246402 CRS conference with attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding health service district. And Nick? You want to do a vote, Nick?
Vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so you second me? I didn't hear you say it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear him, sorry. Yes.
Like, uh-oh. Tom?
Yes.
Andres?
Andres?
Yes.
Okay. Me, yes. Joe?
Yes.
Sweet. And that'll
Recording
put